So let me just start by giving a little background. Why are we doing this? I think the short answer is we're doing this new 360 evaluation to really help you all, okay? Now there's some of you who are getting close to promotion and we may not be helping you all that much, but certainly for those of you starting out, those of you in your first term, I think you're going to be able to take full advantage of this. And while we're rolling it out, we really want you to be informed what the purpose is and to give us feedback as we go along, because again, it's to help you. So what prompted us to start thinking about this, and I should say that us is, I worked with Will Talbot on this, who I think most of you know, he's the Senior Associate Dean for grad students and postdocs. And partly because there were, we wanted to make sure that people were being good mentors to their postdocs and grad students. But the other big concern was that we had in the School of Medicine, and there were others across the university, promotion failures because people were not good teachers and mentors. And the university takes that very seriously. Provost Drell takes it very seriously. We take it very seriously. And then we started thinking about it and saying, well, for those of you, you're just starting out, you're going to go from being a postdoc fellow to now I'm running a research group. And we don't give you a lot of training in how you go about doing that. So we've taken several different approaches. One is, and some of you know this, we put together a course on starting your research group that we're now offering to new faculty members. We have one that's a little more advanced for faculty and we're just rolling that one out. They'll have the first meeting later this month. And we're going to be doing these on a regular basis. We've also worked very closely with the Teaching and Mentoring Academy that Gavin Sherlock and Lars Osterberg co-lead. And they have developed some mentoring sessions. They have the opportunity to provide skilled coaches who come in and look at you teaching and give you feedback. And we're working with them on other opportunities. So now I know there are some of you here who do clinical work too. And so in that space, you get, every time you work with a resident or a fellow, they fill out a MedHub evaluation for you, right? And they rate how'd you do as a teacher, how'd you do at giving feedback, how are you, on the clinical service. And at the time of reappointment and promotion, you also get a clinical excellence survey, which is filled out by your trainees, by staff, and by peers. And that sort of tells us how you're doing. The problem is for people who do very little clinical work or who do no clinical work, we don't have any of those equivalents, okay? And at reappointment, those of you who've been through a reappointment, you know that we ask your current and former trainees to write letters and tell us, there are a couple of questions about how you're doing as a teacher and a mentor. They also have the option, if they don't feel comfortable writing a letter, to have a confidential phone conversation with someone about it. So that happens and you're reappointed sometime before your fourth year ends. If we find there's perhaps some issues, some areas that could use further work, the problem with that is we don't have a lot of time to get you ready for a promotion, right? And so we felt we were getting that feedback too late. We do that again when you're up for promotion, but then, what you see is what you got, right? So this all prompted us to say, how could we make sure that we're getting earlier feedback to our assistant professors who run research groups? And then the idea would be that this would identify your areas of strength and also identify areas where there could be some work done to improve things and then give you the resources to work on that. So that's what's a long-winded explanation to say that's what's really prompted us to come up with this 360 evaluation. And so I want to take you through some of the details of it. It's very informal. Please ask questions as we go along. We also want your feedback. There are a few of you who are actually, there are 15 who are actually going through it now. And then we're going to be rolling it out in the time frame that I list here. Okay, so this is what we're going to cover today. What is 360 mentoring feedback? Who and why? What are the reasons? I already told you some of those. What's the impact? Timing, when are we going to do it? How does it happen? We'll go through who the raters are, what kind of report and follow-up, and then a few common questions. Okay, so this is what it is. We're going to get input on your mentoring and interpersonal skills as experienced by you, so you'll fill out the survey yourself, and others in 6 domains, and they're listed here. So communication, interpersonal skills, expectations, goal setting and feedback, professionalism, ethical conduct, wellness, well-being, diversity and research culture, work environment, and then career and professional development of others. And so if you look at the circles, faculty member, that's you in the middle. We'll be asking your chair or chief, and both, if appropriate, to fill out the survey. We will ask staff who work with you. We'll ask faculty peers, so colleagues who work with you. They don't have to be in your division or department. They can be people you work with. And then, very importantly, trainees, current and former trainees. And so the way this will work is it's a confidential online survey that has 30 items. 25 of these are asked to all raters, and then there are an additional 5 in the career and professional development of others domain that are asked only of trainees and of yourself as a faculty self-rater. It'll be on a 7-point scale, and you can see what that is. If people don't know, they have the option to check NA, okay, rather than guess. So why? I talked about this in the introduction, but we want to recognize your strengths and help you keep them as strengths, some blind spots, weaknesses. Do this early enough before you get ready for promotion so we have time to work with you to try to improve the areas that need some improvement. And then we can have a long view into the trainee experiences over time at different time points instead of just letters as you're getting ready for promotion. And again, I mentioned that this is really similar to what we're doing in the clinical world, where we get regular MedHub evaluations and clinical excellence surveys. And so the impact should be really an opportunity for improvement, individual performance, trainee experience, awareness of perceptions held by faculty and staff. And most importantly, this will be included in your reappointment and promotion materials in the long form, just like for clinically active faculty, the clinical excellence surveys and the MedHub surveys are, okay? And we think this will supplement and add additional information to the trainee letters that we get as part of your file. And so timing. Okay, so we've talked a lot about this. We thought we would do it. We definitely want to do this in your first term, so we do it at 2 years, probably towards the end of 2 years, because we want you to have some number of trainees that you've gathered into your group. We know it'll probably be a small number. And so that'll be at the end of your 2nd year, you'll get this feedback. And then in your 3rd year, 3.5 years, you'll be going through reappointment because all assistant professors are appointed for a 4-year term. And then we'll get the trainee letters as additional information. Then you're successfully reappointed. We'll do the 360 again at 5 years. And then, you know, those of you in the tenure line or research line would be going up for promotion at the end of your 6th year. Those of you in the medical center line, there's a range. You don't have to go up that early, although some people do. So again, this would supplement the information we then get for the trainee letters at the time of promotion. And so the process will be initiated by me. I'll send an email to your department chair and/or chief, well, and chief if you do have a chief, saying that we're going to do it for you. And then we will send you an email, okay, basically saying it's time for the 360. We anticipate that there should be about a 1-month turnaround. So we'll get 2 weeks to provide the names and emails of raters. And I'll talk more about that in a minute, who they are. And then 2 weeks for the self and the raters to fill out the survey. with some reminders, no doubt. So let's talk about the raters. We'd like all current and former trainees, and so those are the usual groups: grad students, undergrad students, postdocs, visiting students, trainees and research staff roles. We need staff. We're going to ask you to identify your current and former trainees. You are welcome to identify others in the staff and peers, but we're primarily going to be asking your chair or chief to identify those appropriate people. So staff will be, administrative associate you work with, a lab manager if they're in a career staff role, grant administrator, student services officer, DFA, people you interact with. And the reason we want to do staff is because sometimes what comes out in reappointment and promotion files is that faculty are very professional around their colleagues, but less so around staff. And we'd rather not have that be a surprise either at the time you're going up for promotion. And that's something, again, we could help with. And then faculty peers. So this could be collaborators, colleagues in the department or division, members of graduate dissertation committees. But again, it should really be people you interact with who would be in a position to know, to be able to fill out this kind of survey. And then your chair or chief. And so you will send the names and contact emails of your trainees to your chair or chief, and this will all be in the instructions. You may suggest other raters. The chair or chief will verify the list of trainees and add to or come up with a list of staff and appropriate faculty peers. And then all of those names will be uploaded online to the link that we provide in the email. And that will start the survey process. So we're using this system called TrueScore, and they will send a system-generated message with an individual link to complete the survey. And as I mentioned, there'll be 2 weeks given to ask people to complete it. And we ask that obviously you not contact any rater about the process, even if you're prompting them to finish the survey. Don't ask them about the content and the like, okay? So it's just better if once you give the names, you're not involved. We tested this survey instrument. We asked 3 senior faculty who are widely viewed as having good interpersonal skills and being excellent mentors if they would agree to take it and have their peers, trainees, and staff take it. Because we wanted to see how it worked. And there were no surprises. It came back that these people were very highly rated. Participants have the opportunity to write comments as well. So it's a score and then boxes for comments. Let me talk about the report, because I think it's really important that you understand what you're going to get back from that. But first, let me say, are there any questions about the process? Yeah, oh, thanks for bringing that up. Well, we've been socializing this a little bit, and the grad students, I forget what the leaders of the Graduate Student Association have asked to meet with Will and me about this, and we're going to talk to them about the best way to get the information out. It's a good point. Postdocs may be a little harder to do, but I do think postdocs will have a little better concept of what this means. It is true that a grad student in their first year or just starting their second year is probably going to wonder, well, how do I do this, right? And so, yes, we will be, I don't think we're going to be able to meet with every single grad student, but we will be rolling out based on what we hear from the grad students, the best way to get this information out. And we'll be asking the different departments, programs to do that. We're not going to say in the introduction that it's tied to promotion, but yes, it is an important piece of evidence that will be used with the promotion and reappointment is a holistic review of data collected in all the different realms. And so,
you don't think they should know that?
No, they will know it. That's going to be part of the educational material we send them. Yeah, yeah.
Are the raters
Yes, yes, I'm going to get to that. We want it to be anonymous, and we really want to encourage their participation. So I will get to that because that's a really important point. And that's part of the reason that we would ask that you not reach out to your trainees to say, hey, have you done that yet, right? Or, you know. So we'll provide them the information, we'll do the contacting, and it should be completely confidential and anonymous. This is a supplement, this is not replacing anything. So this will be another piece of data that goes into reappointment and promotion files. We will still, that's why we tried to stagger it based on timing of the reappointment and promotion. We will still be contacting trainees at reappointment and promotion for their letters or confidential phone calls. So it's additional.
I see, but these scores will go into the long form.
They will go into the long form, just like clinical excellence scores and MedHub scores go in. Right now, this is School of Medicine. We invited BioE because they know, SOE knows we're doing this. In fact, so does H&S, and other schools are interested to see how it works. So right now, there's no requirement that BioE participate in this, okay? I think part of the, there's no perfect way to capture feedback that makes everybody feel comfortable with giving honest, constructive feedback. I do know that some trainees don't feel comfortable giving it like that, meeting with a senior faculty member. And so this will be a way where they can really do it confidentially, right? And have no way that anyone will know and be able to trace it back to them. So we would hope it would give really useful information. We are doing the 15, they're almost done. The plan is now to catch everyone who's at end of year 2 and in year 5. And so there are some of you who might be a little beyond that, or some who are caught in between. But we sort of have to start somewhere. Certainly people in their first term, unless you're absolutely going through reappointment now, we would want to be doing this, okay? Those of you who are about to go up for promotion or who are, well, obviously we're not going to do it. We'll go with the trainee letters, okay? Okay, so let's talk about the report, because I mean, this is what you're going to see, and it's really important that you understand. And again, should have been sent to you the sample report of what this will look like. So there's an aggregated summary of results that'll compare how you rated yourself and how the raters did. And if there's significant differences, those will be highlighted. And then the results compare against all faculty over time. And the whole point of this is to allow you to see the areas you're doing well, to allow you to see the areas that might need some additional work, and then your chair or chief, with our help, will work with you on how we go about that. And so this is just a grid that they show, whether there's a blind spot, others see this, but you don't, et cetera. Okay, so this report will come to us in the Office of Academic Affairs, and it will go to your chair or chief. And again, the whole point of this is that they're going to then meet with you to go over the results with you. You'll get the results as well. Recognize your blind spots, prioritize weaknesses that are known to self and others. You will see the raters grouped all together. So you won't know, here's how my trainees rated me, here's how the staff rated me, here's how faculty peers rated me. And the reason for that is because of the small numbers and to protect confidentiality. We in OAA will see it broken down by rater group. And the reason for that is, let's say that your faculty peers rated you great, the staff thought you were fine, but the trainees had some issues. Well, there's where we need to focus, okay? And that information would be communicated to you, but you wouldn't actually see it broken down that way. Likewise, you will not see the comments, because some of those may have identifying information, but we will see the comments, and then Ellen Waxman in my office, director of faculty relations, and Rania Sanford, who couldn't be here, director of faculty professional development, will work on the comments and basically group them into themes, and then you will see that, okay? And what they will do is make sure that there's no specific incidents that, that somebody may have raised that would lead you to figure out who it is. Just no identifying information. But comments can be very, very helpful in guiding us on specific issues or areas, right? So important that you get that. What we will be doing, especially because this is going to be new to your chair or chief as well, is having an initial meeting with them once, let's say it's someone in the Department of Pediatrics and GI, for example. We would meet with the GI chief and go over the report and suggest how to have the conversation with that faculty member in pediatric GI. Then the chair or chief would contact you and have that discussion. You would also have your report, so you would be looking at it. But again, it'll look like the sample we sent you where the raters are all combined together, not broken out by group, and no comments. And so then from there, the idea would be that, the areas that people think you're really strong in, we all have areas that we can improve in, how should we go about that? And so then we would hope that you would be working with your mentor on that. You're welcome to come to our office. We have several associate deans. We would, as part of what we provide information to your chair or chief, suggest some workshops, training sessions that might be appropriate to help. And, in some cases, professional coaching around some kinds of topics might be useful too. So again, the whole idea is that we provide a range of resources so that by the next time you do the survey, let's just say there are more areas of strength, right? And I will say we've seen this with the trainee letters, with MedHubs and clinical excellence surveys. At reappointment, people are still figuring things out, assistant professors are. And there could be some areas that, aren't as highly rated. But if that feedback gets to the faculty member, which is the whole point of reappointment, and your chair or chief mentor works with you on a plan to address those, and you take it seriously, what should happen is that as you get ready for promotion, or even before that at the next 360, we're going to see an improvement. And part of the reason to have this in your promotion file is that you get a lot of positive points for taking things seriously and working to improve it. And there's a lot of discussion about that, and it allows your department to write about that and explain how you did that. And again, that's viewed very positively by reviewers. So that's how it's going to be used. I just listed a few questions. I think we've talked about this confidentiality and reliability. We think in general it should have at least 3 raters in each group. Now, if you only have 2, we'll go with it. But obviously, doing this again at 5 years, you're going to have larger numbers in the groups. It'll be more reliable. You asked the question about rotation, visiting students. We thought something closer to 6 months, but if they've had a really good intense experience in 5 months or 4.5, and you feel they could answer these questions, that would be fine to include them. Again, the more people we can include, the better. You're bringing up a good point. So just as we do for trainee letters, we ask all former as well as current to write a letter. And we would ask the same to do the survey again. Now, it may be, you're right, that if somebody did it at the end of 2 years and then left your group, they may get back to us at year 5 and say, well, I don't have anything new to add, which would be fine. But it is the policy that we do contact all former trainees too. Okay, and then, people might say, well, what can a faculty peer say about this? But we think they can say a lot about your interpersonal skills, and that's what most of these questions are getting at, and how you can seek and take feedback. And training experiences in one lab extend to others, so how you collaborate, how you do with committee work, secondary mentors. So just as at reappointment and promotion, we get internal letters from faculty colleagues that provide very helpful information. we expect that in this survey we will get very helpful information too from your faculty peers. So that's what we are going to present. You have the sheet that lists a lot of other frequently asked questions. When you look at that, if you think there are questions that we haven't answered that would be good to include, please let us know. You can certainly email me, lboxer@stanford.edu. We will be soon capturing those of you at the end of your second year, in your fifth year, and really plan to roll this out. We felt with the 3 senior faculty members, they sort of helped us get it going. The 15, we've sort of figured out the best way to get the data now. And those 15 are also going to help us sort of be the guinea pigs for how they get the feedback. But again, this is a work in progress. It's to help you. And so we really want you to let us know your thoughts, what would be useful, how could it be improved. We'd also welcome your input about the timing, doing it at the end of the second year and then again at 5 years. We picked that because we thought it'd be difficult to do it more than twice, especially when trainees are going to be asked to write for reappointment and promotion. And we thought it'd be tough to do it earlier than 2 years, but we want to have enough time to get a signal and get some information so that we can make sure you're getting the resources that you need. We can see, so my office will be able to see how many are responding, and we'll be sending reminders, okay?
So we don't actually need to worry about...
You should, we would prefer if you do not, other than give us the names of your current and former trainees, that then you let your chair chief and us take it over, and you're not contacting them. It may be completely fine, but we want to make sure that they're not feeling that there's any, I don't know, kind of coercion or, oh, I haven't done it yet, right? I think informing the raters, and again, we're hoping with the grad students and populations to get this out, but it would not be a bad idea, and whether you, the participant, do that, or we ask your chair or chief to do that. But yes, I do think a heads up that this survey is going to happen is a good idea. This survey is for people, trainees who are in your research group. Again, if you're doing clinical work, we feel that with the MedHubs and the clinical excellence surveys, we get information about that. What we don't capture enough of and early enough is from the research group. And so you were all invited, as well as a number of your colleagues, because we asked your chair or chief to let us know, we don't care what faculty line, who runs research groups. And that's anything from clinical research, translational to basic, et cetera. Okay. Other questions? So the score, you're right. Some people on the scoring would never give a 7. And some would probably give all 5s and 6s. I mean, the advantage for those of you in your first term is we will do this in your first term and we will do it again at 5 years. And a number of those people will probably be the same who are filling it out. So we'll have an opportunity to see how it changes over time. Yeah.
So what are sort of the data normalization plans?
Yeah. Well, let's hope that, see, there again, the larger number of raters, hopefully that'll sort of be taken into account. You are compared, you will get a raw score, and you will also get a percentile score that looks at other faculty. Again, with a large number of raters, we hope that this will be reliable, meaningful information.
Many of us for other reasons, in part 2 for the spirit of having good mentorship relations.
Well, trainees, and again, you're right, especially new trainees are probably gonna find this a little unusual, and that's part of the reason we need to get the word out and give them some guidance here in how to handle it. Again, I think postdocs should probably be okay, faculty peers. Staff, I think, will be able to know how they'd prefer to be treated by a faculty colleague, right? So you're talking about, would it be a good idea that you go to your faculty colleagues and ask for feedback? We would encourage you to use all means possible to get feedback. I think that it might be feasible that if you ask a faculty colleague to give you feedback, they would feel comfortable. I think we all recognize the incredible power imbalance between a PI, a faculty member, and a trainee in the lab, a grad student, an undergrad, even a postdoc. and that they're going to be very cautious about what they say, and they may be very uncomfortable with that. Now, not all, but they really view it as, I'm working with you, I'm going to need a good letter of recommendation from you to go on to my next move and next and next and next. And what we have seen is they're very concerned about giving any kind of negative feedback. And again, we don't want negative feedback just for the sake of being negative, but if we don't know what they're thinking in a constructive way, how do we help? We can't make it any better, right? But yes, this is really to supplement any other means that you may want to use for getting feedback from anybody. Again, it doesn't take the place of that, but we do think, we hope, we really do believe that it will provide a safe, confidential way for especially trainees to give you the feedback, okay? Especially when they understand that it's to help you, right? I mean, we want all our assistant professors to be successful. We want you all to get promoted. And it's really pretty painful when it doesn't work out because of issues around mentoring, around teaching, right? And maybe your research, and if you do clinical care, are really strong, right? Okay, well, as you go through it, please do let us know if you have questions. We'll be very interested to see what you think about the feedback, how that's helpful. If you have suggestions for better ways to give the feedback, please let us know about that too. Because again, it's just being rolled out, and like everything, we're sure we're going to be making changes to make it work better. So thanks for coming. We will put this information on our website so that you'll have it accessible. Part of the reason it's being filmed is for your colleagues who couldn't get here. This was the second workshop we did. If there's a lot of interest, we're always willing to do another one, and then, this same year. So thanks for coming. Good luck.